This program contains language that is intended for mature or immature audiences. Anyone affiliated with this train wreck of a show assumes no responsibility for its content. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to hide the kids and pop the top on a cold one. Coming to you from the extravagant studio at SAA Productions in Charleston, West Virginia, please welcome the inebriated cast of Section 304.
All right, welcome in everyone to Section 304, episode number 8. And as always, we're drinking beer, I think, and talking ears after the loss to Baylor. Some of us may have even probably moved on to liquor. But I'm Anthony Lewis, and joining me today, we have a full boat. Matt Durrett, Cam McGrath, and John Crum are here, and probably a little hungover, which I know Durrett is.
I'm not hungover. You don't know that.
All right.
Fine. I'm sitting here. I got my Gatorade, my Sweet Tarts.
And as always, producer Steve is manning the control booth. On today's show, we're going to talk about the game in Waco, and we're going to be talking to one of the all-time greats. We're going to have him try to get him back on today. Aaron Beasley is going to be joining us. And also, there was a wild finish yesterday in Michigan. And I don't want to really dive into that, but later in the show, we're going to talk about some of the all-time. Let's throw our all-time wild finishes in Morgantown, wins or losses, which we'll just talk about some memories there. So, first, let's dive into this Baylor game. First of all, let me ask you guys this. How good is that Baylor team to you guys? How good are they?
They're going to lose a game. That offense always stalls out in one. I will say the quarterback being able to run is a new wrinkle, and that'll make it a lot harder on defenses than when they had Bryce Petty or Florence. But I think they'll drop one.
Corey Coleman's pretty good. I mean, from what I saw yesterday, but you also got to remember he had Worley guarding him, and Worley hasn't been able to fucking guard a parking cone here lately, so I'm not sure. We probably should have been in that game a little closer. Continued missed opportunities on our part. Questionable play calling. A lot of checkdowns to the deep ball. It's just.
Well, how good is the Baylor team is what I'm asking you.
No, they're all right.
I think they're what we've seen the last 3 or 4 years.
Cam, you going to join us today?
I really don't have anything to say.
All right. Well, now this might wake you up then. What do you guys right now? I don't need your 15 list of things. 2 things. What are the issues with this WVU team right now?
You check down on third down and whatever, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, whatever, and this guy's checking down and chucking it deep. It's fucking stupid, especially when your deep ball was like a 3-2 hanging curveball that gets knocked out of the goddamn park every time. His arm is an embarrassment. He's brutal. He's got to be out at quarterback, and guess what? I'm off the Hogs train because he's allowing this shit to happen. So long, Dana. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out, you prick.
All right. Jesus, sorry.
I just think the offense has become really predictable. I mean, it's run on first down, probably run on second down, and then we're probably going to throw on third down. But Howard checks down, like Diddy said, looks for the deep ball. There's no... Earlier in the year, it seemed like he was targeting a lot more people. It looks like he's locked in on either Shelton Gibson or whoever's out wide. It looks like it's predictable, in my opinion.
Cam, you have anything on this one?
Yeah, same thing these guys said. It's run, pass. Then Skylar Howard can't make the throws on third down. Can't make intermediate throws. Same crap, different day.
I think when I look at Skylar's play yesterday, and you brought up something too that I really kind of hit on, was it does seem like he is locked in on his guys, but it seemed like yesterday he actually was going through his progressions a little better than he has been in the last couple of games. You know, one of the things that we discussed was the fact that he's not hitting the slot receiver coming across the middle. I don't think he can see him. I think the guy's 5'9", maybe, and he can't see those guys coming across the middle. And he has to go to the outside routes because that's the only thing you can see. It doesn't seem like he's picking up anybody coming across the middle.
He hit Cody Clay yesterday.
Well, that was just on a rollout, like a bootleg, which I can't believe we ran a bootleg to the tight end.
That
in the
was
red zone.
shocking.
It's crazy, isn't it?
What's our identity on offense?
Well, I think you have to. I think he has tried to move it to be a balanced offense where he's trying to go 50-50. But you and we said it leading into this game, and you said it last week. You establish the run and then try to throw the football.
Do we establish the run?
Well, we were early yesterday, but then he started just loading up the box.
I don't think we do anything really good. I mean, we're okay at running the ball, and then at times we're okay passing the ball, but there's just so much inconsistency. I don't think we have an identity on offense, whereas in the past, like when we had Geno, you knew we were going to throw for 450 yards, and you had to account for that. I think if you take away the run against us and we try to throw, we're not a good enough throwing team.
No.
We're not going to beat anybody throwing the ball.
But then again, our running game, how good is our running game? I just.
Well, one thing I heard us yesterday was, and I think in our group text I sent it out to you guys, Smallwood only ran the ball 12 times yesterday, which is a travesty.
Is he hurt, though? I mean, I've heard rumors that he has a nagging ankle injury. I mean, if he isn't hurt.
But if he's on the field.
I'm not buying that.
And, 12 carries, he actually looked good on some of those carries. So, in my opinion, and we said it last week, I'm taking 5 probably carries away from Skylar, 5 away from Shell for sure, and giving them to.
I'm taking every carry that Russell Shell gets away.
He ran.
That guy's not even going to be on the field.
He was better yesterday than he has been all season.
Right.
I thought
He's trash.
I don't think Matt watches the game sometimes. He just likes to come in here and
Shell's trash, dude.
Well,
break.
Come on.
Defensively,
Let me know when he hits the century mark, when he hits 100 in a game.
He's not going to because he's the B back. So, and one issue here, and this is kind of an amazing stat. We ran 83 offensive plays, 471 yards. I thought that was the most invisible 471 yards I've ever seen. But here's what's crazy. Everyone likes to sit and rant about the offense. 84 plays for Baylor, 693 yards, which is crazy to me.
It's crazy, but in this league, you got to throw the traditional mindset of what stats are out the window. I mean, the defense came out, got burned a couple times, but settled down and actually played pretty good in the second half. It was 27-17. And if Howard doesn't chuck that ball into the end zone to Gibson when he had a first down, if he'd have just picked it up with his feet, I mean, we could have gone into half legitimately tied and then get the ball in the second half. And who knows what happens? I mean, against Baylor, your defense, you can't let the floodgates open up.
Right.
And when you get 3 and outs, the floodgates open up, and before you know it, it's 54-24, and it's over.
That's the frustrating part with this team is the fact that we're right there in the game. We should have went in tied or down a touchdown, getting the ball after half. And it's just continuously, we shoot ourselves in the foot. We did it against Oklahoma. We did it against Oklahoma State. And then you watched us do it yesterday against Baylor. It's concerning to me that these problems aren't being addressed. They're not being fixed. And we just continue to drop the ball and let these opportunities go. Somebody's got to answer for that. And
how do you fix these problems when Skyho hamstrings the offense? There's no fix for it. We don't have anyone better.
Well,
I don't know how.
That's the rant. Everyone sits and rants, but there's nobody better behind him. And I keep saying
that falls on the head coach, because if you're 5 years in and you're having to play a guy at quarterback who is lacking in every aspect of the passing game, and you can't go to your bench and bring in someone better, that's false.
It is. It's on hold. I mean, I've already made that argument.
All right, you said it. Now break it down. Do you know why? I mean, explain to me why we're in that predicament.
Why are we in that predicament? I mean, I guess Chavis Rollins comes in, he transfers, Ford Childers comes in, has the personal issues. He's had guys who he's thought are going to be the future. William Crest comes in. Apparently, he's not what they thought he was going to be, although, I mean, he throws a couple of deep balls that look pretty good. I just think at this point in time, you have to show some trust in somebody else and try to make something happen. Because this offense that we're putting on the field is unacceptable. And if you're going to keep getting beat, at least get beat and show me that you're trying to make a change. I do not want to see Howard trotted out there every Saturday to make the same shitty throws and the same shitty mistakes, because that lets me know that, or it makes me think Dana's just giving up. He's not even trying to change.
I don't think he's given up.
but-
Those guys give him the best chance to win. He's trying to save his job.
You say that the best chance to win with Howard at quarterback. What is this team? 6-6, 7-5?
Very average, yeah.
Okay, we fired Bill Stewart because he couldn't compete for a national championship.
Buddy, I'm not going to defend Holgorsen.
Well, is this guy competing for national championship?
No, he's not going to.
He's competing for the middle of the conference.
It's the same shit year after year.
Yeah.
Nothing's getting better.
Have we improved in 5 years?
No.
I don't think we have.
He can't recruit or develop a quarterback.
It's the same mistakes every single week.
And that's
penalties. We get a chop block. We're in the red zone. We're about to put one in before the half. Chop block. Okay? That's kind of a fluke, but it happens every single week.
I've been saying this shit all year. I'm glad you guys are on the bandwagon.
It's just you have to find something and you have to make a change. Crest is athletic enough to play 3-4 different positions for you. I'm not even saying it's got to be Crest. Give me somebody else at quarterback. Show me somebody else out there and let me see them fail. So that way I know, and it's without a doubt, that these guys are not better than Skylar Howard. I want to see someone else under center. And if they fail, okay, that's fine. You're trying to make a change and you're trying something different.
Well, I ask you guys this. Do you make the change yesterday?
Yes, because that defense is soft.
Let me finish. Do you make the change yesterday, going to play the number 2 team in the country, to put in a backup, and start a backup so the fans will be quiet, take him to Waco on the road in the midseason to try to beat Baylor with a backup that you don't have the confidence in? Is that what you do?
I would have put a new quarterback in the fourth quarter because first of all, the game was out of hand. Second of all, we have a long week.
All last week. Everyone ranted about was you got to have a change of quarterback. Do you stick Crest in there and take him to Waco, or do you take him to TCU next week?
You got a long week to prepare. If you want to do it, you could have.
Yeah, TCU.
We could fall on him. I mean, Crest could fall on his face, but I'm here to tell you, I don't think we can win more than 6 or 7 games with Howard at quarterback. And that's not a knock on him. I mean, he's just limited talent-wise. He works hard. He plays his ass off. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the Jimmies and Joes, man. And Baylor's Jimmies and Joes were a lot better than ours.
Oh, yeah. They were. Listen, that Baylor football team, that number 1,
Corey Coleman,
he's got some Tavon Austin start-stop, but he's big.
Yeah, he's bigger than Tavon. He's a big boy.
But he's got some start-stop like him. So I'm not going to get too down on the defense because that was a hard – I mean, you watch – they're off. One thing I noticed yesterday, which we don't have, their quarterback, it looked like he was out there playing Sandlot sometimes. He would literally get the ball and just stand up and just go. Toss it right down the field, and it looked like he wasn't even trying. Where when our guys get the ball, it's feet moving,
struggle,
looking.
It's a struggle.
They're just loaded. Baylor's loaded.
Baylor's good, but you know what? We can move past Baylor being good. We all know Baylor's good. Guess what? Oklahoma State's not very good.
Well, hey, listen.
Let me go back to
there's no doubting
Baylor.
that we should have beat Oklahoma State.
Yes, we absolutely should have. Here's the thing about Baylor. They don't actually recruit any better than us. Their talent isn't better than our talent. They're just much better coached. They don't recruit better. I mean, over the last 5 years, they do not recruit better.
Did you see the stat that they popped up on Artie Boy? Said like his first 3, 4
Yeah,
seasons,
he was bad.
Losing.
Yeah.
And it took him a while to get it going at Baylor.
But he wanted Houston too. I mean, there was a track record as a head coach with him. I don't know. I'm pretty negative on
and I'll play devil's advocate for Dana, and I'm gonna throw this out here, and we'll move on, and you guys can respond to it. You've got a guy that was never a head coach ever anywhere. At best, he was a hot shot offensive coordinator. He comes in. He's having a tough time, and he's had issues every single year, either with the staff. There was a lot of animosity early between the offensive and the defensive staff because that was the old Rich Rod, Stu staff. They bounce. Had a little bit of a carousel, had some issues with some guys leaving, misses on some quarterbacks. I don't think even if you're a hotshot offensive coordinator and you come in, that people are going to flock to your school. Rich Rod didn't have it. He got handed Rasheed Marshall. And he really kind of got lucky with Pat White because Pat was going to go – Pat had the talent, and Pat was never a great passer, which he developed into the Mullins system, but he kind of got lucky. And if you look at it, he really got lucky with some of the guys. Owen Schmidt transfers from some D3 school in Wisconsin, and then Steve Slayton gets snubbed by Maryland and comes to West Virginia. It's luck factor, man. I mean, you recruit Jason Gwaltney, and once again, and he flunks. So it's kind of luck. It's bad luck. I think Dana's had a run of bad luck, and I think he's on the right path right as of now. He got a lot of young talent, but year 5, that's a long time to be sitting. And then it's always, we'll see next year type of thing. So
he's got some talent, but does he have a quarterback for the future?
Well, he doesn't have a quarterback.
Can he
Looks like
develop
he's
a quarterback?
got a running back in Crest and a receiver in Sills, but I still do not see a quarterback.
But I just don't know where you sit and get pissed about that when he's had guys come in that don't pan out. You're gambling with 18-year-old kids.
He's the one that recruits him, though. You got to.
He's also getting paid $3 million a year.
Well,
Is he not evaluating these kids? Is he terrible at evaluating quarterbacks?
Well, everybody and their brother's evaluating them, obviously. I mean, when you got a 4-star kid like that Chavez Rollins kid
that kid was never going to be a quarterback.
He was pretty highly recruited.
I don't know about that one.
We'll look it back up. But I'm just saying, when you get these guys in here, you're obviously, well, all right, William Crest was a 4 or 5-star guy. He's not panning out. So, I mean, these guys hit and miss on recruits. I mean, Hugs hit and miss on recruits and had 2 bad years.
Can you continue to hold back and wait and hope that he has somebody fall into his lap accidentally like Owen did and Pat did? You can't do that, man. Like Crump said, this guy's getting $3.5 million a year. If you go to work on Monday and you can't do your job, and it's continuous that you can't do your job, what happens to you, Lou?
Well,
they're going to fire your ass.
Because I haven't been able to do my job.
They're going to fire your ass is what's going to happen. Why should this guy continue to get breaks? His job description is the head coach of the West Virginia Mountaineers. If you don't put a product out on that field that wins, guess what? You get fired.
No.
And guess what? He's in year 5. His product hasn't gotten better any year. It's went downhill, if anything, and it's time that he gets his ass out the door.
Well,
I'll pack his
and
office
you guys read Mitch Vingel's article, right? And we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's going to be like $16 million.
Don't get me started on that again. I broke that down for you. It's going to be $8 million to get rid of him and his staff.
$16 million.
How is it $16 million?
Because the assistant coaches have guaranteed contracts.
Yeah, it's $8 million total to get rid of Dana and his staff.
Well, then you got to hire a new staff.
But we're going to be paying a staff anyway. It's not like
we're not
that
in
can't
that
be
position.
added into the $16 million. We're going to be paying guys anyway.
Well, we just don't have that kind of money because one thing people don't remember is we're still not a vested member of the Big 12.
We are this year.
This year.
Yep.
I thought it was next year.
That's a settlement, though. You can space that out over a few years.
That's my next point.
I'm going to go on the record, and I bet you anything, Holgerson's back next year. People can rant all they want. I just don't see him getting rid of it.
When does it start costing you money with people not going to the game, donating? I mean,
we'll see.
We're getting close to that.
We are.
Crossroads.
Right. It's a business decision.
Yeah.
Well, and let's get to this, and then we'll move on a little bit. I personally don't think the season's lost because beginning of the year we thought this was a 7-8 win team max.
I thought 8 wins.
I bought in.
Right.
I was 9-10.
So it's still there. It's still there. So how does this team? Let me ask you guys this: how does this team right the ship and get to what we initially thought? Because we're in the middle of a losing streak, so everybody's been out of shape. But if you look at the schedule, it's not lost. How does this team right the ship and win 7 or 8 games?
You got to go into Texas in 2 weeks on a Thursday night, and you got to beat a TCU team on national television. That's it. That's how you got to do it.
Well,
let's go ahead and say that's going to be a loss. You're 3-4. I mean,
coming out of October, you're 0-4.
Have we seen this team improve in 3 years in November?
Nope. If anything, this team tails off at the end of the year.
Well, and I'm asking the question: what does this team have to do to get?
It's gotta win. It's gotta beat Texas, Texas Tech, Kansas, Iowa State, and Kansas State.
You got to get better quarterback play. You have to have better quarterback play.
Better quarterback play.
And if you can't, if he can't do certain things, then you have to tailor this offense to what he can do, and you have to stop him from checking down on 3rd and 2 and throwing bombs.
We tried that this week. That's why we ran the ball so much more and gave Skylar more carries. We try. He's trying. It's just not working.
It's a bad situation all around. And the sad part of it is we're wasting a pretty good defense. And a lot of those guys on that defense are graduating. So we're wasting a pretty good defense with an average to mediocre offense that just can't get up and down the field.
And that's a good point. The defense is going to be gone next year. I mean, we're not going to be any better.
That's not exactly true. We do lose a lot of guys, but there's one thing is encouraging is we do have a lot of depth on defense. But at the end of the day, in this league, you have to have a good quarterback. And I think we have an average quarterback.
And more than likely, we're going to be breaking in a new quarterback next year. How many games is he going to win next year? 6, 7? Same shit, year after year. The penalties will continue. The turnovers will continue. Never-ending cycle.
All right. Well, what we'll do is we'll stop right here and listen to what Dana had to say yesterday after the game. He addresses the Baylor team, talks a little bit about Skylar Howard and people like Direct critiquing him. And also, one of the bright spots on the field yesterday was Mr. Seals, who, and we'll talk about that coming out of listening to this real quick.
Another hard-fought loss. Give our players credit for fighting. Won't back down. Keep fighting. With that said, not good enough to get a victory. Congratulations to Baylor. They're the number 2 team in the country. It's the best Baylor team that I've seen ever. They're a good team. Guys thought they could win, fought hard. Second quarter, I thought the 2 red zone opportunities that we had offensively needed to result in points. That would have put us at 27-27 at halftime. That was tough, and then after that, you can only hold them down for so long.
Evaluate Skylar. It seemed like after a couple games, up and down play, he was much better today. Is that fair?
Yeah, he's under some pressure. He puts pressure on himself. You guys know where I'm going with this. There's a lot of people that put pressure on him. He works hard, and he's not going to listen, and he's not going to quit fighting. I'm proud of him, of his attitude, his work ethic, his fight, and he's going to continue to do that regardless of what people.
When did David Sills become an option for you to play, and when did you make that decision?
When I watched him and scout team become probably the best receiver on our team, I approached him. He says, his attitude is he will do whatever it takes to help the team. I wouldn't shut the door on quarterback in the future, but right now he just wants to do whatever he can do to help the team. He's a pretty good player. He's a really good football player.
And there you heard, they've moved who I thought could have been one of our quarterbacks of the future to wide receiver. He says the door's not shut on him playing quarterback. So will this help getting White and Sills onto the field in the wide receiving game? Do you think this will help a little bit? Seemed to yesterday.
Sills had a couple big catches. Look, the kid looked impressive at wide out. But at the end of the day, I'm so disappointed to see him playing wide receiver because again, it's another kid we recruit to play quarterback. Here he is lining up at wide receiver, not getting under center at all. It's like, it's a clusterfuck, man. It really is.
He looks like a natural wide receiver. He looks like an athlete. Yeah, he drug his foot on the touchdown catch. I mean, he was right on the sideline. He looks great, but I was hoping to see him turn into a quarterback, but I don't know. We got a plethora of young, talented wide receivers, and that's not a bad thing. We just got to have someone who can get him the ball.
Yeah, you can't become what they're calling it wide receiver U now. You can't be wide receiver U if your receivers don't have a quarterback to get them the ball.
My biggest issue with it is now we have all of our eggs in the Chugs basket. That's our only quarterback for next year.
Well, again, Dana said the door's not shut on him playing quarterback.
Then on the post-game show, they said never expect to see Sills as a quarterback.
Who said that?
Who said that?
No, one of the post-game guys. It wasn't
What
anyone
the
from
hell do
staff.
they know?
Well, yeah. That's like us saying that.
Yeah.
It's like Presto. Once you throw him out there at running back and wide receiver, you know that kid's never going to be a quarterback.
I wouldn't say never. Trayvon Boykin at TCU was moved to wide receiver.
Yeah, that's true.
He's back and he's under center. I wouldn't say never, but it's very discouraging to see a kid you bring in who's a pretty highly recruited player playing wide receiver and switching positions.
And burning his red shirt.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin White's little brother looks kind of like Kevin White, both with the dreads and, he drew a pass interference call. I like seeing that, but these look like to me guys that are on the outside. I thought we missed opportunities with guys, intermediate passing, slot guys. Shelton Gibson caught that touchdown in the first quarter. Baylor's defense is not very good.
He made one move.
Yeah, there was so much yards after catch potential, and when you just run deep balls, I know I'm harping on this. I don't know.
Well, and briefly, one thing, I thought for sure somebody would ask him this yesterday, and it sounds to me like what it turns into is you're pressing, because early in the game it didn't seem like we would do it. We're always going to take our shots downfield, but third and short, I don't understand it, and I'm hoping maybe they address it in the press conference on Tuesday to where I can kind of hear it. And we talked about it actually we started week 1, 3rd and 2. I don't understand play action down the field 15 yards. And late in the game, it was a pressing issue, but they were doing it. I mean, just get the first down.
What I want to know is he calling those plays, or is that being checked too? That's what I want to know.
That's a good question.
That's the answer.
Well, nobody asked him that yesterday. I wish I would have been there because I probably would have piped up.
Because if he's calling a different play on 3rd and 2, and his quarterback is checking to the deep ball, then that's a problem that he has to address with the quarterback and within the team, because that's just a really stupid play, especially when you have, backs who are picking up yards, and you would think 2 yards is not that much. You give it to Smallwood, let him put his head down and go, or you can run the play action and get Skyler out in space. Well,
hell, we couldn't even do that yesterday. They were trying to roll him out, and they were just grabbing him by the feet, and he was going down. So I don't know.
We don't have an identity on offense at all, and that at least with Rodriguez, you knew what you're getting. We're going to run it down your throat.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, and when we had Geno during Holgerson's first 2 years, we were going to air it out, and we were probably going to put 450 yards on you, and there was probably nothing you could do about it. Now, I mean, what are we? Are we a running team? Sometimes. Are we a passing team? I just don't see a lot of improvement, and I don't see this team getting a whole lot better, to be honest with you.
There's zero improvement.
Well, I think they're good enough to win 6, 7, 8 games. I mean, and that's kind of where we were at the beginning of the season.
Now, we're 3-3 right now. Are you going to? We can go ahead and probably give them Kansas. K-State's not a bad team. Texas Tech isn't bad. And then you get Texas. Texas upset Oklahoma. I mean, what 3 are you giving them as the surefires there?
I mean, I don't give any, but there's no such thing as a surefire. But I just still think this team can win 6, 7, 8 games. Although I don't think it's good enough. If you win 6, 7 even is still a little. If you win 7 and win your bowl game, I think people are like, okay. But if you only win 6 games and get blown out like the pinstripe year,
we're going to talk about a bowl game.
So I mean, this team.
Where are we going to go to Alabama?
Let's go back to Memphis.
GMAC Bowl. And you guys want to take a trip to Mobile? Because I don't.
Well, you can stay home for that one.
I will.
Well, what we'll do is we'll get out of this conversation, and we're going to take a quick break. But first, we're going to announce the Dell Sparks Collection winner, and that's Dylan McCardle of Morgantown. He predicted that Baylor would put up 59 points, which is, if you want to win a picture, that's the way to do it. And he did it. So he predicted 59-10 Baylor.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
He had no faith in the offense.
Yeah.
We're going to tear your picture in 2 and send it to you.
Hey, man, you got you a nice Sparks collection there. Sparks, as always, great work he does. And it's pretty solid to hang in your basement, your man cave, wherever you're putting it out, buddy. Enjoy it.
And before we get into the break, I do want to tell our listeners out there that we just added a merchandise shop to our Facebook page. If you would like a Section 304 T-shirt at the low price of only $16. If you'd like to support us and help us move along a little bit, please swing by the Facebook page and check that out and pick you up a T-shirt.
Cam can sign those for you, too, if you put in that request.
Absolutely.
He'll even draw his special dragon on those T-shirts.
That Dragon Rodriguez.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and coming up after the break, we're going to talk with Aaron Beasley, one of the all-time greats, and that's coming up right after this. Do you love West Virginia? Check out Home Furnishings by Bearwood Company. Log into bearwoodcompany.com and put West Virginia pride in your decorating design. The Bearwood Company, always home. For the best in vintage advertising signs, World War II collectibles, collectible vinyl records, and coins, check out our friends at Red Fox Antiques and Collectibles in Scott Depot, right off I-64, exit 40. This isn't your grandma's antique shop. This is a mantique shop. For more information, check them out on Facebook or give them a call, 304-757-9589. The Dell Sparks Collection. Dell's documented WVU sports for over 30 years and features the greatest moments in Mountaineer history. Check out his magic moments from Major Harris, Pat White, Tavon Austin, and so many more. For all of your favorite Mountaineer moments printed and framed, visit dellsparks.com or give him a call, 304-296-6004. The Griffith Law Center, PLLC, a Charleston-based law firm servicing the entire state of West Virginia and parts of southern Kentucky, specializing in serious injuries, wrongful death, and wrongful termination. The Griffith Law Center. Now you have a friend that's a lawyer. Call today for a free consultation at 304-345-8999 or give them a visit on the web at protectingwv.com. For all of your web and graphic design, go with the best. Go with our friends at Loggerhead Designs. They're true graphic professionals. Anything from business cards to high-end websites. They can handle it all. The next time you need your ads to really pop, head over to loggerheaddesigns.com or call 910-541-0143. And we're back here to Section 304, the podcast where we usually drink a lot of beers. I think everybody was out late last night or had long days, but drinking beers and talking ears here on the Section 304 podcast. And before we get to our guest, I want to announce our Bearwood Company Fan of the Week, and that is Dreama Mullins and her sons, Braden and Nate, who, if you swing by the Facebook page, the picture will be posted later. They were down on the field last week, and it's already kind of been in the press. One of their little boys was down there collecting autographs from the West Virginia State Police instead of the players. I guess he's really, really a big fan of law enforcement and has a lot of respect for them. And I believe his uncle is a state trooper. So they said she sent in some great pictures of the kids, and Dreama and her boys are Bearwood Company Fan of the Week. Well, joining us on the phone, he really doesn't need much of an introduction, but I'll run down a little bit of it with you guys. He is obviously one of the all-time greats at corner at West Virginia. He was a consensus All-American and spent many years in NFL with the New York Jets and also the Jacksonville Jaguars. Aaron Beasley is joining us here on the show today. What's happening, Bees?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Well,
got me on a nice, beautiful, sunny Sunday, sitting in the house.
No, are you in Jersey or you're in New Jersey now, right?
Yes, South Jersey.
Okay. Well, I guess first, before we get into too many questions, just kind of catch everybody up with what you've got going on. I know you do a lot with some of the youth football players and even up to the high school level. So what's going on with some of that?
Well, right now, I actually became the governor of Pennsylvania for the National Youth Football Organization. And what that is basically year-round football, non-contact passing leagues. You know, I go to a lot of high school games, little league games, and I get bored. It's like I see run left, run right, and what I'm trying to bring to the Northeast basically is upgrade in the passing game.
Right.
So I'll be working with skill positions, linebackers, defensive backs, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and quarterbacks.
Hey, Aaron, this is Matt here, man. And let me first off say Lou introduced you wrong. He said you're one of the greatest corners. You are, without a doubt, the greatest cornerback to ever play at WVU.
My apologies.
At least in my opinion. I think most others would agree.
I say we're on the even playing field. Because I like what Pac-Man brought. Pac-Man played the game the way I like to play. I just didn't have his speed. Now, if I'd have had that speed, I might have to have that number one.
Did you get a chance?
I think I was the slowest corner to ever come out of West Virginia, though. Nobody knows that.
Did you get a chance to watch any of the Baylor game? And just if we could kind of get your thoughts on what you think about the situation in Morgantown right now is.
Yeah, I did see the game. The one thing that I'm one of the guys, I watched one play probably for 20 minutes. So I hit that rewind button a couple times, and when you play a team like Baylor, you have to mess their timing up. And when I was watching the guys play press technique, every time there was some kind of bail, and they never put hands on these guys at the line. And I think when you play a team like Baylor, you have to be physical against those guys. I mean, maybe play a little cover 2 press or something to get them off their timing. I mean, because you can see that quarterback, he was staring them down, basically. I mean, he didn't look to any other receivers. I was watching. He was looking at one receiver and throw it to him. And I think when you mess the timing up, you definitely have him looking somewhere else, and that helps your pass rush.
Do you think that
was my major observation? I was like, why aren't we putting hands on these guys? Like, you line up 3 yards away from the guy, and then you just take off running. If we're going to keep doing that technique, you have to have a change-up. I just don't see a change-up.
Right. And, and one thing I also noticed too, and you kind of hit on it with the pass rush, he was just standing up and just kind of chucking the ball. And it looked like almost like a scrimmage of some sort. Do you think they just thought their wide receivers were that much better than our defensive backs?
He has a lot of confidence in Coleman. I see that. I mean, that guy, he's pretty quick. But, I mean, you got to, like, my whole philosophy when I play, you got to slow them guys down. I run a 4.7. I'm going to make him run a 4.7. But if I make it into a track race by not getting hands on him and not messing up the timing, because when I teach younger defensive backs, bump and run technique, I always talk about how, when the quarterback is throwing to his receivers at practice, there's nobody in front of them. That's their timing. That's their timing mechanism. They have that in their read and feel off of each other. Well, in the game, if you put some hands on them and you get him to move 2 yards left or 2 yards right, that's taking him his whole timing off of what they worked on the whole week.
Right. And
that's my philosophy. I mean, I think that the game now is all about timing. Those quarterbacks are trained that 1, 2, 3, 4, the ball's going.
Right.
And you got to do something to get him off his railroad, like we used to call it.
Hey, Bees, this is John. I'm going to take us back to some happier times. Could you tell us about the 1994 backyard brawl? I know you had a pick six, the sort of back and forth, and then the huge play at the end of the game. What were the emotions like, and what was playing in that game like?
Man, I got a funny story because I was big into video games, still am big into video games, and I was late to the team breakfast. I didn't get any breakfast. Me and Charles Emmanuel and Coach Ramsey was our D-back coach, man. He gave us this look. I mean, Coach Ramsey was like a father figure for all of us, and we definitely all had respect for him. But I didn't even eat breakfast that game, so I was out there like wolfing power bars down, and by the second quarter, I was so drained, like energy-wise. But the funny thing is, I had 2 interceptions that game. I wish I had 3 because I had one and Dan stole it from me in midair. But I had the 2 interceptions, but I don't think people realize I got toasted like 3 or 4 times that game too. So it was like one of those games where it was up, down, but I think a lot of that was because of me getting burnt. Hey, I should admit it now. Back then I didn't get burnt back then. It was somebody else's fault.
Right.
It was me.
You mentioned some of those guys, and on this show we've talked about it. That was one of the best defensive backfields. Kind of break down the guys you played with back there and talk about the unit as a whole and how it was tough to pass on the Mountaineers back then.
Yeah, I mean, it all started the day we came into West Virginia. That first day, we see ourselves. We got 4 defensive backs, all on scholarship. The corners were from Pennsylvania, and the safeties were from Florida. So that right there, I mean, I think that right there started it all because, that's when we became the Amigos because, we'd be at practice, and our main thing, I know one thing. I remember the first person I covered in a 101 that just came from the Olympics. I won't say his name, but he's fast like a jet. but that was our thing. We used to go against Mike Baker, Jay Turney, Ed Hill, but we used to give them problems. You know, that was our main thing, to come in and compete and try to get out there. You know, I felt like I wasn't even the best. I wasn't even ready. I didn't feel like, you know, I didn't get redshirted and played as a true freshman. And the first game, I was asking Coach Sutton, I was like, yo, why don't you redshirt? I want to be with my boys, so then we can play 4 years together. But I guess he saw something in me. I don't know. Because, like I said, I wasn't fast, but I wasn't even a football, but I was a basketball player playing football. But I guess he saw something. I don't know what he saw, but I ended up playing as a true freshman. And, you know, the guys, they redshirted. And it's funny you bring that up, because I was looking at a old news clipping from my last game when we played against Pitt, and it had Van talking about how, you know, we were so tight that he was like, man, you know that we were brothers. This man cried right in front of us. You know, I was like, man, that really hit us. You know, coming from Van, you know, it was a brotherhood, because, you know, in the summers when we stayed down there for summer school, nobody had money, but we'd find a way to make some hot dogs and noodles. You know, this was way before they get all this food, you know. So,
right.
I mean, it was definitely, it was great. You know, I talked to Logue and I talked to Charles a lot still, and, you know, that's the first thing we talk about, the amigos.
Back when you were playing in the day, who is the toughest receiver that you ever went up against at your time at WVU?
From other schools?
Yes, sir.
Marvin Harrison, Brian Still from Virginia Tech was a good receiver. He was so fast. I always went against the Miami receivers. I mean, they always reload every year. You know, you want another funny story now. My freshman year, true freshman, I was starting against the U. This was when they had Gino Torretta, Lamar Thomas, and I mean, they were stacked. They beat me on a touchdown, and I got beat on a slant and go, you know, nosy little freshman, looking in the backfield. I try to tackle Lamar Thomas in the end zone. He does the Heisman pose on me, and I was livid, man. I was so mad that I carried that throughout. I said, if I ever play against this dude again, I'm going to let him know. So, you know, ends up that 1998, he was with the Dolphins, and, you know, the first play of the game, I studied process. I said, oh, he's on that team. The first play of the game, I said, Coach, can we play some cover 2? Because I got a score to settle. So the first play of the game, I wasn't worried about what kind of play it was. I just went and attacked Lamar Thomas and just, I mean, it was like that angry look the whole game, like, yo, I'm gonna, you know, one of those looks the whole game. So the whole game, he's like, yo, what are you doing? What's wrong with you, man? So, you know, I had that anger the whole game. After the game, I was like, yo, good game, man. He's like, yo, what was all that about the game? I said to him, freshman year, you did this Heisman pose on me, bro. I said, I never forgot that. So I see him once in a while, or see him on Facebook, and he always reminds me, don't mess with a freshman that's hungry.
Hey, Bees, this is John again. When you were in the NFL, you were in the NFL at a time when there were some all-time great quarterbacks, Elway, Marino, Jim Kelly, Troy Aikman. Who was the best quarterback that you ever played against?
Man, I always say John Elway. I was always a fan of Elway growing up.
Me too.
Then, you know, I played against him, and I mean, the guy can make a cross-field post throw. I mean, some of the throws he made was amazing. You know, I got another story. Well, man, I can't cut so I bleep my own self out on this one. But, you know, my rookie year, played against the Broncos in the playoffs. You know, they were, 13-3. They sat their team for like the last 3 weeks. They were supposed to beat us by like 20-some points, but we ended up beating them. I probably had one of my best games. I had like 8 pass breakups. And one play, you know, they ran an out route on me. I laid out, should have caught it, dropped the ball, and I'm talking that way. I was like, don't you go over here no more. And then it was like, what did I just did? You know, because, you know, we ended up beating them that game. And if you ever watch one of those NFL shows, they were, or John Elway would say, career ever. And we ended up going out there the next year playing him, and he beat me on a stop and go. And man, I never realized John Elway talked so much junk. I was getting some cuss words thrown at me. I can't even say it, but if you can understand, while John Elway threw the ball, beat me for the touchdown, he's running downfield right behind the ball looking for me. I said, what did I do to John Elway? But, I mean, it's like Elway, I would always say Elway, Marino, Warren Moon, Randall Cunningham that one year was unbelievable. I mean, that's when he just started throwing the ball when he was with the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, that was like before the greatest show on turf. That was probably one of the most prolific offenses I've ever seen.
You know, you're talking about trash talking, and you kind of started talking about him earlier in the game or earlier in the show. You're talking about the U. You posted a picture earlier this week. It was you and Ray Lewis. Can you talk? You know, one of the all-time classic games in Morgantown is '93 Miami. What do you remember about that day and upsetting the Hurricanes that day?
I know that cold weather had a big factor. They were not trying to. They were worried about getting to the sidelines more than they were worried about being on that cold field. I think I thought they took us lightly, but we were playing a lot. We were playing Miami ball that day. We were physical. We were hitting them. I mean, and that's what kind of game that it ended up being. One of those knockdown, last man with the ball that gets the chance to win games.
They've always said that the Hurricanes didn't like physical football, and I do remember it was Tim Brown that literally laid one of their guys out. I believe it was on a kickoff play. There's that famous picture.
It was Mike Collins' interception.
Oh, that interception,
he killed that guy. Depleted him.
Yeah, I mean, is that one of the things you guys had to do? Because Coach Nealon was a line him up, punch him in the mouth kind of guy, and a tough defense kind of guy. Is that what you guys had to do to the Hurricanes back then to really kind of get those victories over them?
Yeah, because a lot of people thought of the Hurricane for their receivers, and they always had a great quarterback. But for those couple of years, I know they had some great running backs. I mean, I think it was Donnell, Bennett. I mean, they had some like 230-pound running backs coming downhill. And I mean, like I said back then, Miami was putting a lot of guys in the pros. I mean, their O-line was always good. I mean, you had to match them for their intensity on defense as well. I mean, because you're not getting a lot of points. I mean, I think that's when they had the streak of like 100-some games without a 100-yard rusher or something. So you definitely had to be more physical than them.
The Syracuse game is one I'd like to ask you about, because I remember I was in the crowd for this game. It was Marvin Graves playing quarterback, and I believe it was Tommy Orr that he spiked in the head.
Back, 92.
Yeah, I believe it was Tommy Orr that he spiked in the head with the football. And then, of course, we all remember, I believe 3 Mountaineers got ejected, and Nealon had the press conference afterward. It was pretty intense, pretty fired up about that game. Just if you could just talk about that and being involved in that situation with the Marvin Graves spiking Tommy with the ball.
That was funny because, I was actually on our sideline during that play. And, we saw the ball, we saw the penalty flag, and I look over at our sideline, I see Doc Holliday turn bright red. He's a Mountaineer too. So I look at Doc Holliday, Doc looks at me, and it's sort of like that movie, it was Mel Gibson, William Wallace. Doc Holliday says, it just looked like some old war movie back in the 1700s. Like some gladiators just running into each other. But I mean, that was a very intense game. That knocked us out of our bowl contention. We were winning that game and sort of. But it's part of the game. I mean, flair. It's a lot of testosterone going on out there, you know.
Right.
I always try to keep my cool because, like I said, I wasn't too fast. I wanted to keep all my energy so I could run as fast as I could.
You know, we had Robert Walker on earlier this season, and he talked about going to the Dome in '93 and just kind of laying it to him. Was there a lot of build up going up to the Dome that next season, especially after the way you guys had lost the year before?
Oh, definitely. You know, we had that on our minds, I mean, for a long time. Because, you know, that was, like I said, that was our one loss that knocked us away from the bowl game. So, you know, it's just like one of those things. It's a rival game anyway, so the intensity is always up. You're always trying to play your best, you know, because, you know, the Schwartzholder trophy was up for grabs.
Right.
And, you know.
Right.
I mean, we don't talk about those things, but, you know, inside, you know, I just was always a historian of all sports. And, like, I used to read up on that trophy when I would walk through the halls and just like, man, this is an intense rivalry. I never thought of Syracuse, West Virginia as intense when I was in high school. But, you know, once you get involved in it, you see what it is.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're joined today by the all-time great, Aaron Beasley.
The greatest cornerback West Virginia has ever known is who that is on the phone with us, Lou.
Oh, man, you ain't got to say all that.
Mr. Aaron Beasley is joining us. Aaron, thanks for joining us today. It's always good to catch up with you. I don't know, are you going to be making the trip down to Morgantown for any of the games?
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to come down there, man. It's like the timing of the stuff has just been keeping me off, but I'm just glad I made up for the last time with you having it.
Nah, it's all good, man.
I didn't think you were ever going to talk to me again. I'm like, you don't even talk to me no more, man.
Hey, man, it's all good.
I had to get a new phone because of that. Now I got a new phone. I'm good to go.
All right, my friend. Well, it's always good to catch up with you. And if I don't see you in Morgantown, I'll definitely see you next summer at Joe's Wax Golf Tournament, which is always a good time.
Yeah.
Always
I'll
a good time.
never miss it again.
All right, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen. All right, you too, Aaron. Aaron Beasley, ladies and gentlemen, joining us by phone. He didn't get to cut loose today, but Aaron's a good dude, man, and we always have a good time whenever he gets back to Morgantown, and he's got 1,000,001 stories to share. But I mean, arguably, and I don't even think it's really probably the best defensive backfield ever at West Virginia.
It's not even an argument.
No,
dude.
it's not even an argument. Man, how about if he would have gotten redshirted?
Yes. That team would have been back in '96, I believe. He would have been the corner on that '96 team.
Guy was a beast, man. And I think I'm going to stop talking about it. I'm going to be about it. I'm going to get that Sparks picture of the beast to put in my basement. The one with
you need the big
off the field. That's the one I want.
Yeah, we'll have him. We'll go up to the golf tournament next year, have him sign it. Well, you know, yesterday was a crazy day in college football, and I'm sure everyone has seen it. The finish in Michigan, and it got me kind of thinking this morning when I was working on the show. There's been some crazy finishes in Morgantown. There's been some heartbreakers, mostly heartbreakers. We'll go around the horn here. What do you remember as one of your?
You want wins and losses?
Well, either one. What's the wildest finish you remember?
I have two, and the win is obviously Pennington laying out to beat Pitt with the catch.
That wasn't a last second play. That was a blowout.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the greatest moments I've ever seen at Mountaineer Field.
I'll rephrase the question. What's the wildest finish?
Oh, the wildest finish, 3 overtimes, Pat White. And the wildest finish going against us is Tremaine Mack. That son of a bitch, if you're out there and you're listening, I want you to know you ruined a great Saturday night in my childhood, and I hate you to this day for that. I wish you nothing but failures in life, Tremaine.
I echo Diddy's sentiments on that.
The Miami.
That play in the Michigan game was eerily similar. I think Butch Davis even referenced that on whatever show he's on. That was like when, Tremaine Mack blocked the kick.
Oh, yeah, did he?
Yeah. I think ESPN had the probability of Michigan State winning that game at 0.2%. At that point in the game, they measure that. They do it for all sports.
Right.
But that just brought back a lot of bad memories for me. And it was crazy. It was shocking. That's how the Tremaine Mack play was. It was shocking.
It was the Tremaine Mack play was gross. It was gross.
As for best finish in our favor, I would have to say the Louisville win.
Other than the Louisville win, I'm going to go back to 2009, the game winner by Tyler Bittencourt to beat a top 10 Pitt team.
Yeah.
As time expired, he kicks the game-winning field goal. Little vindication for the 2007 game that we don't discuss.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a big night. I would have to say one of the, and I wouldn't really call it a wild finish. I mean, because a wild finish is something unexpected that just swings the game. And you guys already talked about 96, but man, that 95 Purdue game, that just missing that damn field goal at the end of the game was a. I
thought of another wild finish in our favor was the South Florida game, Holgerson's first year. I mean, B.J. Daniels fumbled. We got the ball back. And then Stedman Bailey made that incredible catch, and he was hurt. And the team lifted him up. Like had they not done that, it would have been an injury timeout, and the clock would have run off. And then Tyler Bittencourt hit another clutch field goal, and that's how we got to the Orange Bowl.
And actually, I'll go back to one more, and it just hit me when you were talking about that game. 93 Boston College.
Oh yeah,
was a hell of a finish. That team, if you remember, was flu-ridden. They were all sick. BC had beat Notre Dame the week before, who was number one in the country, and we're up there. I think it was under 5 minutes, and they fumble the ball. They're trying to run the clock out. They fumble it, give it back to us. Darren Studd still comes down, drives the team down the field, and hits Ed Hill in the corner, touchdown.
They were tough. They had Glenn Foley and Tom Coughlin was their coach. They were really good.
Are we keeping these all in at Mountaineer Field?
No, just wild.
Because there's a finish that I would love to bring up just for those in Huntington. I remember the time you thought you beat us. So let's add that one in there for you down there in Herdtown, huh? Little guy named Geno Smith and Tavon Austin bring us back to life. We come out of Huntington with the win.
I watched that.
Stuff it down your guys' throat.
I watched that last week, and in one of the plays that I don't know why it's lost on me when I think about it, was, man, that catch by Will Johnson in the back of the end zone.
Incredible.
I mean, was just unbelievable. That was a great finish. Great finish. Well, I know there's people in Michigan are probably sore this
Has
week.
anybody talked to Derek Bailey today?
I thought I saw him on the St. Albans Nitro Bridge yesterday, but I never checked back in to see.
I know after Michigan State scored, I received a text. They said, you guys should check on me periodically for the next 24 hours just to make sure I'm still alive.
Well, if he doesn't meet up with us today to watch some NFL, we'll go by his house. Well, I guess before we get into trying to talk a little bit about, we got an off week this week. So I guess next week we can even talk a little more about TCU. But before we get into that, I want to just go over a couple quick things. One thing we want to try to do with this show is we've had, and everyone that's listening out there, thank you. The show is growing weekly, which means obviously people enjoy it, and we appreciate the listeners out there, and we appreciate your feedback and the emails. So we appreciate that. So what we're going to try to do is implement a little bit of a contest, and to help us kind of grow on the iTunes side a little bit, we're encouraging you just to swing by and review the show on iTunes. And it only takes just a couple minutes. And if you swing by and review it, just give us your honest opinion. You can give us 1 star, you can give us 5 stars, or whatever you want to do. But we're going to enter the first 100 people to stop by there and do that. We'll enter your name into a bowl, and we'll draw it out as soon as we hit the 100 mark. We're going to give away a autographed Pat White mini helmet. So I'm encouraging you, and we appreciate you swinging by and reviewing the show on iTunes.
Don't tell them to hit 1 star, dude. All of you punch 5 stars.
Well, I'm not
5-star. We're a 5-star outfit here.
This is a first class operation we're running here.
Let's be honest. 5 stars. Anything less, you're just wrong.
Classy as fuck.
Well, one thing I want to do too, also before we get out of here, and I'm going to kind of take this opportunity, is we're on the, I don't remember what the date is exactly, but when West Virginia plays at Kansas, I have a nonprofit organization and I do an annual project. We're going to have a game watch party at Buffalo Wild Wings in Nitro. I'm going to try to get these guys to come out and join us. We haven't confirmed our guests just yet, and that looks like it's going to be Saturday, November the 21st. Buffalo Wild Wings, and of course they'll announce the game time, but we usually start the event 2 hours before. before the game, and I'm going to try to reach out to a couple former players. We have former players that come in. They'll take pictures, sign stuff. We have a great silent auction. We do a raffle. We raffle about 20 items off. This will be my 6th year visiting the Davis Child Shelter here in Charleston. They usually have between, up to 10 kids that are in there on Christmas Day, and I go up on Christmas Eve, and we've taken some nice stuff. In the past, we've taken them Kindle Fire, cameras, iPods. We usually take in some TVs and video games for the kids in the shelter. So I'm encouraging our listeners, if you're in the Charleston area for the Kansas game, come and check that out. It's usually a pretty good time.
Lou loves the kids.
Yep, I sure do.
There
like
you
Trick
go.
Daddy.
It's a good thing. Lou loves the kids. They may not even want to hang out with former players, Lou. They may just want to come out and hang out with us.
Well, we'll be there. We'll be there. And
I figure Cam has a huge following of the D&D crowd who would like to maybe play a little Magic the Gathering at B-Dubs.
Yeah, you can do a little post-game Magic the Gathering. But yeah, we're going to do that, and I hope to have that announced who's going to be there for that week. Which by that point, I don't know if people will be even watching Mountaineer football. Hopefully they still will, but they're going to have to turn it around here in the next few weeks.
Hopefully they're watching a new quarterback under center.
That could. I don't think the door is shut on that. I do not think the door is shut on that aspect. All right, Diddy.
It's that time.
It's that time.
Today you're not going to hear no can pop though, because last night we popped a lot of shots of tequila. You watch a downhill runaway like that, you kind of go into tequila. So today, my Gatorade of the week.
Shit's weak, dude.
It's whatever, dude. We didn't even know you were still here. The Gatorade of the week, I guess. Let's throw it to Sills. That's my guy. We'll throw it to Sills. He had a pretty impressive game yesterday. Came in, helped the team out at wide receiver. I don't like seeing him play receiver, but hey, man, much respect to you coming in, making plays, doing something. I like it. So, Dave Sills, you get the Gatorade of the week.
I think he's going to be a great addition. I think you might start to see – I think what they're having to do is work some new receivers in, and he obviously is very athletic. If he's a great passer, I think he could be a great quarterback for us in the future. But as of right now, I think that they're going to just kind of ride with one of these two guys is going to have to get us there. But I do like the fact they got him on the field. He's athletic, and I like seeing K. White out there on the field, man. He looked good yesterday too. So I think that's the future, and you're looking at it. No, everybody.
My player of the game was Shelton Gibson. He had a kickoff return, and he had the big play in the first quarter. I think we need to get him the ball more in space, but we'll see. Hopefully we make some improvements. Otherwise, it could be a long gray November.
Well, once again, thank you guys for listening this week. And looks like we're going to have an off-week show next week, so who knows what we'll cook up. We might just get out on a boat or go to the pool or do something crazy next week and record the show there. Who knows? But
I'm not swimming in this cold weather, bro.
Oh, that's the whole point, man. We're going to get you out in that. We'll put you out in the cold river. But thank you guys for tuning in or downloading the show this week. And don't forget to swing by iTunes and review the show. And we'll gather here next Sunday. Thanks for listening.
The producer for Section 304 is Steve Adams for SAA Productions. SAA Productions specializes in affordable, small-scale audio and video projects. Wanting to jump on the podcast bandwagon? Call 304-299-1234. That's 304-299-1234. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook and on Twitter.